Welcome back. The annual anti-bullying campaign called Pink Shirt Day is back, where each year Canadians, people in fact around the world, are asked to take a stand against bullying by wearing pink. For more on this, let's bring in child and youth therapist Tania DaSilva. Thank you for being here, Tania.
Nice to see you.
You know, sometimes the best movements start with a small moment. And this was a couple of kids in Nova Scotia back in '07 who, you know, a friend of theirs was bullied for wearing pink to school, so they all came the next day and wore pink, and here we are.
Yeah.
You know, 13 years later. It's a global phenomenon. Why is this important?
I think it's important because it just really shows that such a small act of kindness can become huge, right? They saw it and they're like, we don't support it. We want to do something to make him feel included. And it became something that now is worldwide.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
How pervasive, in your experience, for the kids you talk to, the parents, the teachers, everyone, all the stakeholders, how pervasive is bullying in the schools and anywhere else?
Well, if we look at the stats, like even just Canadian stats, 1 in 3 kids are bullied. Half of parents say that their kids have been victimized. Even if we're just looking at how often it occurs, they're saying that every 7 minutes in the yard, it's happening, every 25 minutes in the classroom. So it's happening, and it's happening a lot.
Is it happening more often, or do we just have better information gathering?
I think the information gathering is a big one, and especially with the addition of the social media piece of things where it's happening on there as well. And I think we're also just becoming a lot more self-aware, where we're not brushing it under the rug as much as we used to in the past.
Like you're right. You know, you touched on it, right? Social media, cyberbullying. I mean, it has been around forever, but this it's exponential now, right? And you know, in the old days, people would say, oh, you know, settle it in the yard and then it's over, right? Whatever. But now, when something, you know, shameful or whatever goes out there, you can never call it back. No. And this can reoffend some kid over and over, and it can get really bad, right?
Absolutely, and it is happening a lot more in the school system. So for us, we work a lot within the schools, and I've noticed such an increase in the inquiries around coming and doing workshops around anti-bullying and specifically social media with their students. So I mean, if they're starting to reach out to organizations like us, that means that it's obviously happening at a level where they're like, we need to do something about it.
Now, once you've dealt obviously with the child that's been bullied, what about the bully? So how do you reconcile that? How do you deal with that child?
And for us, we're in that unique position where we work with the kids that are bullied, but we also work with the kids that are the bullies. And for a lot of them, there's usually something that's also going on for them, where maybe they're struggling academically or their parents are getting separated and they're feeling this lack of control. So it's a way where, okay, I'm going to establish control this way, where you're smarter than me, but I'm stronger than you, right?
It's a power game,
100%, yeah, 100%.
So what are the red flags, Tania, the signals that caregivers, guardians, teachers, everyone should look for, so that it's not just, oh, something small that you can get over yourself, that you need to maybe step in and intervene here?
Well, I think there's the obvious ones of if it is like the physical aggression, if there's bruises, scratches, that's always really easy to see. Sure. But then there's the other piece of it where if they don't want to come to school as much, they're pulling away from social interactions, their grades are slipping, their eating habits, their sleeping habits, and then the bigger one where the self-harm. If you're noticing that they're starting to self-harm or talking about suicide, their drop in self-esteem, right? All that kind of stuff.
And isolation is the killer, right? You can't suffer alone.
Exactly.
If you see the kid needs help, you have to step in. Tania, it's a pleasure. As always, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Great chat.